Hello and welcome to day number 123 of our Travel Trader series, and today I picked a very special topic because I want to talk to you about trading psychology. And this is one of the things where trading becomes quite complicated for many people because they either get too far involved in it emotionally, so they are constantly in a high or in a low, or they get really excited about it, and then something happens that is negative, and then they feel that down, and they kind of never come back. So we want to be able to deal properly with it and not get into these emotional traps in order to trade more successful. Like one person said something like that trading or human beings make very terrible traders. So actually, in order to trade very well, you should be the less human being you can be, so you're not emotionally involved in it at all. You stick to some certain rules, and then you will trade far better than being emotional about it. So one of the things that I personally do and that I recommend to all of my students is that you detach from the money that is involved as far as possible. And the reason for it is very simple. As soon as you begin to think about, let's say you're in the positive and you think about what you could buy, and then things go down and you start losing money, that makes you feel very bad. So rather than thinking in terms of, oh, what can I buy for 500 euro, or oh my god, what if I lose 200 euro, or what can I buy for 10,000, 20,000, whatever your account size is, wherever you go, you want to be detached from the money. And that's why I always encourage people to either think about percentages, how many percentage you gain, so you don't think about the money but about a certain percentage. Or the other thing is that you want to think about how many points, pips, or whatever did you do. So rather than trading the equivalent of plus 2,000 euro or something, or plus 1,500 US or whatever it is, you rather think about, okay, I did 15 points in that commodity, or 150 in that index, or whatever the appropriate number is. But you think about points and not about money. So you're not getting emotional about the sum that you either win or lose, neither negative or positive. And as I keep telling people all over the world, is that the reason I trade is because I am very risk averse. I don't like risks. That's why I love trading, because I'm always in control about what I do and how I get in or how I get out of a trade. So I'm very risk averse. And one of the things that hinders me sometimes is I want to get out of risk as soon as possible. So let's say I have a trading idea that goes into my favor, and it works out very well. One of the things that I do very early is I put my stop loss in a position where I don't get back into any loss anymore. And sometimes it really happens that a trade works very well, it comes down, I get stopped out with a very small profit, and then eventually I would have made higher profit, but I generally stick with it. Of course, you don't want, as soon as you gain 1 or 2 points, you don't want to move your stop loss immediately there, so you always have to give it the appropriate wiggle room. But I love to take out my risk as early as possible, because from there on, whatever happens, I don't have to think about it. Whatever happens, I will be in the positive, and therefore that's something that I tend to do, and that in my experience helps many people to think about these kind of things far more relaxed than if they always have to think about, oh my god, if it goes down I would lose whatever it is. And some people get sleepless nights about it. So I prefer to put my stop loss in a position where I cannot lose money as soon as possible, but not immediately, because then you will get stopped out in 100% of all the cases. So it needs to go in my direction, and then I'm happy to put the stop loss in a way that I can't lose anymore, and then it can go up and down whatsoever. And that's how I prefer to do it. One of the other things where people struggle with psychology-wise is that if you, and then again, the first thing we said is don't think about it in terms of money, but sometimes people look at it and they see, oh my god, I'm 1,000 euro in the positive, whatever the number is for you, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, and then it comes down, and now the 1,000 became 500, and then you want to get out, or you get out, or you get stopped out, or whatever. But that's something that people struggle a lot with, because they already felt great about making 1,000 euro, but then they went back to 500 and they feel very, very bad about it, although they just made 500 euro for pretty much doing nothing. But they feel bad about it because they were already emotionally attached to the 1,000. And that's where, first of all, we don't want to think about it in terms of money. So you went from 100 points down to 50 points. That doesn't sound too bad at all. However, of course, in your trading software, you will see the money equivalent. There are two ways around it. You will never be able to find exactly the highest top, so you will never know exactly where the market turns, only to a certain extent. So one of the things to not feel bad about these things that I love to do is that I give you or my students two ways in order to deal with it. The first way would be, okay, I have a certain amount of risk, and we already talked about asymmetric risk-reward ratios, and we always want to earn a multiple of what we want to earn. So in many cases, it's very advisable when you say, okay, let's say I take a 200 euro risk, 500 euro risk, whatever the size is for you. Again, that's very, very different. And then when you reach a target of, let's say, 2 times your risk, so you go to 400 or to 1,000 euro, you take your profit immediately, and then the key is to never look back, because in many cases you will realize, okay, it would have been 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, and then you feel bad about it as well. So the key is, okay, you take that profit, then the trade is gone, it's done, and then you do something else. So you always want to have a multiple, very, very important. You always want to have a multiple of your risk as a target, and that's when you automatically can take profits. So that's one way to deal with it, and the way that I personally love to deal with it is that there's a saying that says you want to let your winners run. Some people say, okay, but where will we run? Eventually things will come back to a medium or come back to a mean again, and then you will be down whatsoever. However, in terms of the way we trade, we love having trends, and trends pretty much go in the same direction for quite a while. And that's why I prefer, in most cases at least, that once I get the risk out of it and I see I have another turning point and then we're going back again, that I love to move my stop losses in terms of these swings, and I let the trend run as far as it goes. Sometimes it's just a few days, sometimes it's a few weeks. I also had trades where we went into a certain direction over months, and these are usually very, very rewarding trades where I can risk, let's say, 1,000 euro, and I can end up making 10,000 euro, while otherwise, if I started with 1,000 and after making 2 times my risk at 2,000, I would have exited it, and the other 8,000 would have been left there. I think that many people have to kind of experience in their trading what works better for them, and it definitely depends on how you trade or what strategies you trade. In many short-term strategies, I think it's more advisable to make sure that once you reach your target, you get out. And if you trade these longer swing trades or these longer term trades, I think it's more advisable to let your winners run as long as they go. And why would you stop earning money if you don't have to? So these are a few takeaways of some of the psychology things that I personally use, or that I tell to my students how to deal with these things, to not get emotionally attached with it, to not think about it in terms of money, rather stay with percentages or points. Make sure that you have a strategy where you always make your money and where you have asymmetric risk-reward ratios. And these are a few of the things that I wanted to share with you today. If you liked it, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions also, you can always send me a message here, and I'm happy to answer that. And we will see again each other tomorrow for probably a look at another indicator. Thank you very much for watching tonight, and I wish you a great evening, and see you all again tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.